My name is Khalid Shamis. I'm making a film called The Colonel's Stray Dogs.
And Khalid, what's the film about?
Well, the film looks at the current crisis in Libya, but from a historical point of view and through the eyes of certain high-level government figures who used to be opposed to Gaddafi. And they lived in exile and they were hunted. Some of their friends were killed. And finally Libya was freed by Libyans inside Libya, and then these guys came back from exile, took up government positions, and they found a Libya very different from the one they left, from the one they dreamt of, and they're kind of facing a crisis of how to or what to do, for the future.
And in one or two cases, some of them have gone back into exile.
Yeah, the Prime Minister Ali Zaidan, who was quite a prominent figure during the last year and a half, was kidnapped in November for a couple of days by a militia. People were holding him to ransom for lots of problems in the country, and then finally with this Operation Morning Glory that happened, I think, in February, with this oil tanker that was kind of taken by a militia and then retaken by American forces. He left. He was forced to leave again, and now he's kind of in exile again.
Yeah. And how do you come to this story?
Well, my father is one of these men, and I grew up as a son of an exiled Libyan in London. So by proxy, I followed his story and his kind of struggle, if you can call it, over 30 years, and also seeing my father become an Englishman as well. And then going back to Libya.
And you're unusual because your mother is South African.
Yeah, my mother's from Cape Town, so they met in London, a very kind of unusual mix in the early 70s, where lots of exiled Muslim and kind of Arab revolutionaries, I guess you could call it, met in London. And then, so that's kind of where my father kind of found himself, and he kept up this kind of fight, opposition to Gaddafi over many years, and now he's back, and he's kind of a little bit, in doubt as to whether or not even to stay. Yes. So this is kind of the same with a lot of these characters. Is like, what do we do now? Do we stay or do we go?
Yeah, and presumably, what are the things that he finds most confusing about the new Libya? Well,
the main thing is a lack of unity. You would expect that. Well, I guess the dream was that after Gaddafi left, or was killed, or was sent out, that the country would unite together to build a new kind of green Libya.
Yeah.
But actually what happened was, during the revolution, all these militias developed. After the revolution, many more militias claimed that they were fighting, and they developed, and they have arms. They don't want to give up the guns, and then there's all this oil. So it's a question of, the people in some militias in Cyrenaica want autonomy, so they can control the oil.
Yes.
So all these questions I find fascinating, and the film will look at this through these guys, but also it looks at kind of an untold history of Libya under Gaddafi from men who are opposed to him.
And untold in what sense? What are the things you're talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, we understand Libya through Reagan and Thatcher, right? Yeah. Those kind of media outlets.
And the relationship with Gaddafi. Really.
Yeah, who was kind of the mad dog of the Middle East, and these were like it was kind of the formation in the Western media of terrorism, right? This kind of new terrorism. Yeah. And Gaddafi was kind of the forerunner of that, and with all his craziness and his kind of madness, he played into it, and it served him well for a while. So Gaddafi played into his kind of the pantomime, right, between the West and Libya. And so that's kind of what we know about Libya, is about what we've been told through Western media and through Gaddafi propaganda. So these guys have a different kind of the same understanding, but a very different history of what was actually happening in Libya during that time. To what extent Gaddafi was actually hunting down people in the West, in Europe and in America,
and assassinating them.
Yeah, and assassinating them. Yeah. And the kind of struggles they faced. You know.
Yeah. And you're at the stage of raising money for the film.
Yeah, the film's been in development for the past couple of years. So there's interest. There's interest across the Middle East and from some European broadcasters. So like any of these kind of big films, it takes time.
Yeah.
So
so sometime within the next 2 years, we will see the film.
Yeah, we're hoping to shoot the end of this year and sometime next year to finish it.